Liverpool makes final Mark Guehi decision as risky transfer plan emerges. Liverpool has reportedly made a final decision on a potential move in January for Crystal Palace's Mark Guehi after a deadline day deal collapsed at the last minute. Liverpool will not revisit a move for Mark Guehi in January. Liverpool will reportedly not make a move for Crystal Palace's Mark Guehi during the January transfer window. Guehi was denied a last-minute move to Liverpool on deadline day after Crystal Palace blocked the switch, reportedly following a threat from manager Oliver Glasner to quit if his captain was sold. Guehi's contract runs until next summer, meaning he could leave on a free transfer. Reports suggested that the Reds would meet with Guehi later this month and could revisit a move for the centre-back in January, but would face competition from other clubs, with the England international eligible to sign a pre-contract agreement with teams in Europe as soon as the window opens. According to Paul Joyce from The Times, Liverpool will not bid for Guehi in January and will now only sign the defender on a free transfer next summer. The report states that the Reds are adamant they will not enter the market in January for a player entering the final year of his contract who has no intention of agreeing to an extension. If Guehi remains determined to join Arne Slot's side, Crystal Palace chairman Steve Parish could face the prospect of losing the player for free, a scenario he has previously described as a financial problem for the club. Parish reportedly discussed Guehi's situation with Liverpool sporting director Richard Hughes after the Community Shield clash in early August, during which he was informed that the Reds valued the defender at $47 million. If the club was to make a move for the 25-year-old in January, it is expected that Palace would want $34 million, $13 million less than what Liverpool was prepared to pay last week. Mark Guehi is set to leave Crystal Palace once his contract expires. Liverpool faces competition for Guehi's signature from Manchester City and other top European clubs. City's interest in the defender was first reported by Daily Star 2 weeks ago. The Etihad club reportedly planned to pursue the defender in the summer transfer window, only if central defenders Manuel Akanji and Nathan Ake left the club. Ultimately, only Akanji departed, joining Inter Milan on loan with an option to make the move permanent for $17.6 million. Sources close to City suggested there was little expectation that Guehi, 25, would leave Selhurst Park before the window closed. Meanwhile, European giants Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Bayern Munich are also reportedly monitoring Guehi, a reflection of both his talent and his contract situation. Liverpool.com says, "This is a bold move from Liverpool. It was expected the Reds would Guehi in January, but by waiting until summer, the club needs to hope Guehi still wants to join Liverpool next summer, else it risks losing out on the defender altogether." Liverpool braced for a five-way Mark Guehi transfer war after summer blow. The Liverpool transfer news and gossip as the competition for Mark Guehi is starting to heat up. Mark Guehi saw a move to Liverpool collapse on deadline day. Liverpool will reportedly face heavy competition for the signature of Mark Guehi next year after seeing a deadline day move fall through. The Reds agreed a £35 million deal with Crystal Palace, with the England international then undergoing a medical, but the move collapsed when the Selhurst Park club failed to secure a replacement. And now if Liverpool revisit negotiations in the new year, they are likely to face stiff competition from Manchester City. The Daily Star reports that City were only prepared to enter the market in the last window if defenders Manuel Akanji and Nathan Ake had departed. Only Akanji left, joining Inter Milan on loan, with the Serie A side holding a £13 million option to buy. The report adds that City are hoping Palace will agree to a cut price deal in January, as the sought-after defender is set to become a free agent in the summer. However, it's said that it's not only City keeping tabs on Guehi's situation, as Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Bayern Munich are also interested in signing the England international. Three Lions boss Thomas Tuchel praised the FA Cup winner for showing a brilliant attitude after his late move to Anfield collapsed. "Of course we had a chat with him," Tuchel said. "He looks absolutely fine and impressive on the field. He has had a good couple of weeks behind him on the performance side. He has continued like that in camp, and he handles it, his transfer situation, with respect and with a brilliant attitude. He is the main driver of Crystal Palace's success, the captain and the leader, and he played very impressively at the end of last season." Guehi was in international action for England in their 2-0 victory over Andorra on Saturday night. where he featured for 76 minutes before being replaced by Ezri Konsa of Aston Villa. How Liverpool overcame huge obstacle to get Alexander Isak turned to science boffins. Liverpool were forced to call on their science boffins to complete Alexander Isak's record-breaking deadline day transfer. The Reds signed the Swede, 25, for an eye-watering £130 million from Newcastle after a lengthy summer saga. Liverpool called on their fitness boffins to get Alexander Isak's transfer over the line. Arne Slot's side needed to ease fears over Isak's injury history before splashing out £130 million. It saw Isak go on strike in the northeast after Liverpool had an initial offer turned down earlier in the window. And Arne Slot breathed a sigh of relief as he finally got his man laid on. However, Liverpool were forced to overcome a huge obstacle to get the deal over the line. Isak's injury record became a cause of concern for Chiefs as they attempted to negotiate terms. The hitman missed 39 games out of 114 for Toon, primarily with groin issues. It also saw him sit out more than 200 training days under Eddie Howe. And the Sunday Mirror claims Liverpool were forced to call on their specialist sports scientists to run the rule over Isak's fitness. Transfer gurus were determined to ensure he was not heading down the path of becoming a regular in the treatment room. But the fitness boffins were perfectly happy with Isak's physical state and informed Liverpool that there was no issue in spending a British record transfer fee on him. Indeed, the sports scientists even reckon they can improve Isak's injury record to ensure he misses as few games as possible. It's added that he will be under close observation after returning from international duty with Sweden. And a specialist training plan has already been drawn up, with Isak needing to build up his match fitness after spending most of the summer training on his own. Mark Guehi handling Liverpool transfer collapsed with respect and grace. Mark Guehi has been described as having a brilliant attitude in the aftermath of his collapsed transfer to Liverpool, with the center-back looking absolutely fine in training. Guehi went straight to international duty with England after his transfer to Liverpool collapsed in the final hours of the window on Monday. He was described by The Guardian's Ed Aarons as extremely unhappy that the plug was pulled on the deal, with a suggestion that he was even considering whether to continue as captain. Liverpool are set to make another approach for the 25-year-old, who England manager Thomas Tuchel says is handling the situation with respect and grace. "Of course we had a chat with him," Tuchel told reporters. "He looks absolutely fine. He looks very impressive on the field. He has a couple of very impressive weeks behind him. On the sporting side and the performance side, he is the main driver of Crystal Palace's success. He's the captain and the leader, and played very, very impressive in the end of last season and in the start of this season, and continued exactly like this in camp. So, he was very impressive. He handles the transfer collapse with respect and with grace and with a brilliant attitude. Guehi has a little choice but to pick himself back up and readjust his expectations for the season after coming within hours of becoming a Liverpool player. It remains to be seen whether the club will make a move in January at a discounted rate or wait until the summer when Guehi is available on a free transfer. The status of Arne Slot's current center-back ranks at the turn of the new year could dictate how Liverpool move forward, and the England international will know they will be keeping a close eye on him. Guehi is a member of the senior England squad this month, which has no Liverpool players. Sweden sound Alexander Isak alarm for Liverpool over fitness risk. Sweden's manager has raised the alarm over Alexander Isak's fitness after leaving him out of their World Cup qualifier on Friday night. Isak was left to stew on the bench as Sweden labored to a 2-2 draw against Slovenia, with Viktor Gyökeres and Antoni Elanga picked ahead of him. After an awkward summer with Newcastle, Isak will hope to hit the ground running after joining Liverpool for a British record £125 million, but things might not be that simple. His lack of action over the summer means it was too dangerous to play him, said Sweden manager Jon Dahl Tomasson. Tomasson said, "We would have loved to play him, everyone would want it, but since he only had 3 training sessions and no pre-season, and of course no match time, the risk was too great to use him today." Asked if Isak could play against Kosovo on Monday, he said, hopefully, as a game changer. Playing Alexander Isak was too great a fitness risk, according to Sweden's manager. Liverpool splashed £125 million on Isak, but he may not be able to hit the ground running. The striker has only had 3 sessions with teammates in 3 months, all with Sweden. But we have to do the right things with him, in the long and short term. The striker missed all of Newcastle's preseason matches, did not join them on their tour of Asia, and was forced to train alone amid his agitations to leave. Liverpool eventually got their deal done at the 11th hour, but only after Toon brought in replacements in the form of Nick Woltmade and Jon Wissa, something which was never a certainty. Newcastle only gave a blunt statement upon his exit, failing to mention his Carabao Cup victory, Champions League qualification, or goals record. It read, Newcastle United can announce the sale of striker Alexander Isak to Liverpool for a significant British record transfer fee. The Sweden international joined the Magpies from Real Sociedad in 2022 and made 109 appearances in all competitions. But Isak wrote, I want to express my gratitude to my teammates, the staff, and above all, the city of Newcastle and all the amazing supporters for the 3 unforgettable years we shared together. Together we have written history and brought the club to the place where it truly belongs. It has been an honor to be part of the journey from reaching the Champions League to winning the first trophy in over 70 years. Jon Dahl Tomasson watched as Sweden labored to a 2-2 draw with Slovenia without Isak. Forever grateful. Thank you, Newcastle. The pressure will be on Isak to make a fast start after Hugo Ekitike's own rapid beginning, scoring 3 goals in 4 games for the Reds. Players with a £100M plus price tag do not always succeed, and Florian Wirtz has had a mixed start at Anfield. But Liverpool are confident they have the right man after Isak scored 25 times in the last 2 seasons. Liverpool make plans for post-Salah era with Olise in sight. Liverpool target Michael Olise. EIFE, according to the Daily Mail, Liverpool's directors have set their sights on Michael Olise as Mohamed Salah's potential replacement when the 33-year-old eventually departs. Salah, who continues to deliver at a high level, scored 34 goals last season to help secure the Premier League title for Liverpool. Nevertheless, with his contract entering its final years, the club is planning for the future and views Olise, currently at Bayern Munich, as the ideal successor. Olise, 23, joined Bayern from Crystal Palace in 2024 after amassing 16 goals and 25 assists during 3 seasons in the Premier League. Liverpool hope to leverage their strong relationship with Bayern Munich to smooth negotiations, recalling recent transfers between the sides such as Sadio Mane and Luis Diaz. Other Premier League clubs, including Chelsea and Manchester United, have also shown interest in Olise, but the French winger ultimately opted for Germany last summer. Reports suggest a release clause in Olise's contract could facilitate his move to England, although competition for his signature is expected to be fierce. Liverpool given Mark Guehi transfer concern with Ibrahima Konate impact clear. Latest Liverpool news and transfer rumors, including updates on Mark Guehi and Ibrahima Konate's future. Liverpool transfer target Mark Guehi is out of contract next summer. Liverpool could be set to feel the effects of the only thing that went wrong for them in the summer transfer window, Mark Guehi's collapsed move from Crystal Palace. The defender was ready to sign for the Reds on deadline day before his club brought the move to a halt. It forces Liverpool into having to play a waiting game, which they welcomed as a possibility earlier this summer. However, a rapidly changing market may mean a free transfer becomes that much more difficult looking ahead to 2026. Plus, Arne Slot is now going to have to consider his long-term plan with what becomes of his existing defensive options alongside Guehi as a target. In Mark Guehi battle. Liverpool's failure to sign Guehi on deadline day was really no fault of their own. However, it now looks like it could become a costly outcome. That is because the Mirror report that the Reds could now find themselves in a battle against 5 European rivals for when the defender becomes a free agent, all who will have the advantage. FIFA rules dictate foreign clubs are allowed to negotiate a pre-contract agreement with Guehi directly from January 1st, 2026, whereas Liverpool would be forced to wait until his Palace contract's expiry 6 months afterwards. The clubs in question ready to rival Liverpool are said to be Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Inter Milan, Juventus, and Real Madrid. Ibrahima Konate contract. One of those above 5 rivals Real have also been linked with taking Ibrahima Konate from Liverpool, should the central defender not agree a new contract to stay beyond next summer. Therefore, this has become a dangerous period for the Reds, after which they could emerge with neither he nor Guehi. The Daily Mail's latest update explains that Liverpool remain in talks with Konate and his representatives. Though with no outcome in the 10 months since contract negotiations started, the Frenchman's future hangs in the balance. The hope is to avoid another contract debacle after the last season. Liverpool transfer news, live Michael Olise interest, Morgan Rogers claim, Marc Guehi latest. Latest Liverpool transfer news, including updates on Marc Guehi, Michael Olise, Morgan Rogers, Ibrahima Konate, Joe Gomez, and more. Michael Olise is reportedly a Liverpool transfer target. Liverpool were the Premier League's biggest spenders over the recent summer window as Arne Slot and company aimed to retake the trophy they won last season. The last to arrive was Alexander Isak on deadline day, with the club paying a British record £125 million for the former Newcastle United striker. But one late deal the club could not get over the line was for Marc Guehi, with Crystal Palace blocking the defender's move in the very final hours of the window. His name is bound to stay a part of the transfer discussion in the months building up to the next January window. Plus, Bayern Munich's Michael Olise and Aston Villa's Morgan Rogers have already emerged as reported targets for as far ahead as next summer.